So this is going to be the hardest video I've ever made because we're talking about the core wound. I have to do this in my son's room because he's asleep in my room. Harry Potter, Spider-Man, the works of a boy room. But so to heal from this, you have to go back to your childhood. You have to go, because the experts say this is where that manifested, the anxious attachment manifested in childhood. All the attachments start in childhood. They say infancy. Okay, I can't remember that. I can't do anything about that. But I think if it did start there, that idea of attaching gets reinforced throughout your childhood. You know, how your caregivers interacted with you is reinforced. Whatever happened in infancy is reinforced, and that's what we know. And that's what we have made coping mechanisms to deal with. But I have to visit this wound and not use coping mechanisms. It's a little bit hard. Yeah. So my core wound was I was emotionally neglected. I remember a particular time, I was probably like 8, and my mom would look at me with like complete disgust. Like the woman didn't like me and still doesn't like me. But it was, at least now as an adult, I can remove myself from her. But when you're an 8-year-old, you're stuck in that. So I just remember her looks at me, like just disgusted that I'm even her daughter. And I remember thinking as a child, I'm like, this woman does not like me. Now, I know some of the anxious attachers will overcompensate and try to do more and more to get that caregiver's love. I didn't do that. I was more like, okay, this person doesn't like me. I don't know what I've done so bad that this person dislikes a child. Even as a child, I thought that. But I just was like, okay, I'm just not her person. I'm just not her kind of cup of tea. You know how we all have people, some we like to hang out with, some we really don't hang out with because they're just not, we don't connect with them. And even in I'm so glad I had this coping mechanism, because I would just be like, okay, she doesn't like me for whatever reason. I can't change it, can't do anything about it. It is what it is. So I really didn't get, I don't remember feeling hurt over it. I never remember feeling like broken over it. And that's why this was such a confusing part for me, because they kept saying it's from your caregivers. It's from your caregivers. I'm like, I don't care what my mom thinks of me. I've never cared what her opinion of me. Last night at 3 a.m., it hit me that that's a coping mechanism. I didn't even know that, because I just thought I don't care what she thinks. That's her opinion. She's never liked me. That's her opinion. Now I know it was a coping mechanism that I'm using. And that was a surprise to me, because I was so confused. You know how there's certain things that you hear about the anxious attachment, like, terror is induced when somebody pulls away. Yes, that happens to me. I'm like, yes, 100% that's me. But when it was saying a caregiver is at fault, the caregiver is at fault. And I'm like, I don't care what her opinion is of me. We've never had a relationship where I care about what her opinion is. But now I realize that's just my coping mechanism that I had and used. So I've had to recognize that that is what actually is affecting my adult relationships. So, yeah, now what? So it's crazy. Even though I just realized this, I do feel a slight tinge of, sorry, I just woke up. A slight tinge of relief. Like, now I know what my core wound is and why I have it. And now I've got to cope with it. Yes, but now I have healthy coping skills. Back then, when we're kids, we don't have healthy coping skills. We just do what we need to do to survive. I mean, you can't be like, at 8 years old, be like, all right, you don't want me. I'm packing up, getting out of here, getting out of your way. You can't do that as a kid. So we just used whatever resource we could find in order to cope. And now I have to visit that area without those coping skills, but I'm using new ones. And I'm not really sure okay, I'm going to go over what those are. So I just thought of it. So according to the book, it makes you feel a little schizo, but it works. You have to recognize that there is a little me in you, because that's what's acting out. Every time you feel like triggered by a partner, that's what's causing you to act out, is your child inside of you. It's so weird to say this because it's still confusing because I feel schizo talking about it like this. No offense to anybody who's suffering from that. It's just, I do feel like I'm going crazy talking to my inner child. Okay. So, apparently there's a little child inside of each of us. This is what the book says. This isn't from me. This is from Anxious Attachment. I recommend anybody dealing with this to get that book and read it. It helps. So anyway, so there's a little child in each of us, and every time you get rejected, it triggers the panic that little girl felt when you were a kid. So what they say to do is you gotta soothe her. You gotta calm her down. So it's been strange for me because this just feels so foreign. I actually have made a picture in my mind of what I probably looked like. Well, I know because I got pictures of myself as a little girl. Blonde pigtails, pink dress. Just, that's my image of what and sucking her thumb because I was a big thumb sucker. And just curled up in a ball and needing that love. They said that once you can soothe that inner little child in you, she calls it little me in the book. Once you can validate her experiences, which is actually us, so weird talking about it like that. Once you can validate that pain that you felt as a child, and tell the little you that you didn't deserve this, it was nothing you did, and soothe that child you will start to feel more secure. I've been practicing this. It's weird for me. It might not be weird for others, but it's weird for me because I'm like, I feel like kind of split personality. So there's adult me, there's baby me. I'm like, okay. So I have been practicing this whenever I feel anxious and just visualizing myself as a little girl on the bed, sucking her thumb, wounded and needing care. I'm getting a little more comfortable with it. And, I could feel a little bit of parts of me that still feel like they're getting healed because this is what the book said to do. And I'm trusting that they know what they're saying. And they said, if you validate the little me in you, you will start to find peace because now you have made that part of you understand. You have recognized that there is a wounded part of you and you're not dismissing it. Think about it. Like when we feel pain, we're like, I don't want to feel it. Stop. I don't want to feel it. So that part of you that got broken is even being dismissed by you, which that's how it was even as a child. You never got closure. You never got recognized. Hey, this is hurting me. Stop. And so when you feel that pain and you shut it down, you're kind of doing what happened to you as a child. So you have to kind of sit with the pain, see yourself as the little girl you were when this pain occurred, and talk to, I know it sounds crazy, but talk to you don't have to say it out loud, but talk to yourself. And I've been saying things like, And it's been soothing and therapeutic for me to actually say these things. Like, you didn't deserve the way you got treated. You didn't deserve to not be loved. You didn't deserve not to get that hug. You didn't deserve not to be cuddled and snuggled on because you, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. You were deserving of all those things. You are deserving of all those things. And you out there, you are too. You are worthy of all of that you didn't get as a child. Oh, man, I knew this would happen because it's just, this is a part that is hard to talk about, that I was emotionally neglected. And it's hard to talk about it because it happened. I know there's some of you out there that probably had way worse than I did, but this has affected me to a deep root to where my relationships are so messed up. So I have to expose what it was and deal with it. Sorry that I'm getting teary-eyed, but I think it's also good for you to see that I'm not just doing this just to do it. It actually is pretty painful. Yeah, so to move forward with this story, I know this video is getting a little long. To move forward with this, so, I wrote a letter to my mom like years ago telling her, hey, you did these things that hurt me. Can you recognize it? Can you acknowledge even that these things hurt me? I wrote her an email. She wrote back, I don't recall it that way. Okay. So, because me and her don't have a relationship to this day because it's just too painful. And she's like, I don't remember it that way. Fine. I'm not going to engage anymore. How many times am I going to stick my hand on the hot stove and not expect it to burn me? Fast forward a couple years ago, her mom died, which is my grandma, but I'm not close to anybody on that side. And I guess it made her think about the fact that me and her don't have a relationship. So she reached out and said, hey, I'd like to repair our relationship. I didn't really want to. I've gone so many years without her in my life, and I've been okay as far as like a loss of a mom that I don't even really know if I want to let her back in. So, but being a Christian, and we're all about reconciliation, if she really wants to try and have a relationship of some sort, I guess I'm going to have to try. So I said, okay. Chase is going to be with his dad on Saturday, whatever day. We can talk around noon. We made a plan to meet around noon on Saturday. And she said, fine. I was in such turmoil because I'm going to have to talk about all this stuff with her. And, it's what I think what would help with us, and I'm not sure if it would heal us, we need to be validated for the way we felt as kids. We need somebody to say, yes, I did that to you. At least that's what I need. Yes, I did that to you. I'm sorry. I will do what I can to make it better for you now. But I am so sorry I did that to you. So I was hoping for, validation and at least to hear me out on what happened to me as a kid. And I wasn't even aware of anxious attachment yet. But I just thought we needed to, if she wants to reconcile, I will do what I need to do to help make that happen. Although I wasn't excited about it. Saturday came. I was like just a ball of nerves. My stomach was in knots. I wasn't looking forward to this at all. Noon came. No call. So okay, maybe she got into something. Maybe she's busy. I'll just wait it out. 15 minutes go by. Nothing. So I was like, okay, I didn't want to do this in the first place. And here we are, 15 minutes late. So I reached out to her, called her. I wasn't going to leave a voicemail. I don't have anything to say. You're supposed to have something to say. You hurt me. So you need to come to the table ready to hear me and give me the validation that my emotions deserve. So I reached out at like 12:15. I got her voicemail. I didn't leave a voicemail. And I haven't heard from her since. So, it just, and I was thinking about that when I was up at 3 a.m. And I'm like, it just all just proves that, it just proves that this did happen and that this is crazy and I can't do it anymore. So yeah, you know, if you can I think that we need to work on forgiveness for sure. I can't forgive right now. Right now I am mad. I am like, you ruined, like I have always craved a loving, tender relationship. And I can't have it because of what you have done to me. You have made me emotionally damaged. So now I got to do work and feel pain because of what you did to me. So if you have forgiven your caregiver, props to you, because I'm not there yet. Right now, I am angry. I will eventually work on it because unforgiveness doesn't do anybody any good. So I will eventually forgive, but right now I'm very angry because now I realize you have taken from me something I have always wanted because you couldn't give me what I needed. Granted, I believe the experts where they say that she was dealing with her own junk. That's no excuse to hurt a child. No excuse. No excuse to reject me, to not want me. I was lovable. I was desirable. And shame on her for not seeing how valuable I was. You are valuable too. Don't let your caregivers get in your head. Take care of you. Try the steps that I've tried with talking to your little me. God bless. Sorry the video's so long.